I'm so excited to introduce Grace Aguaru to you today. When Grace was 5 years old, she received life-saving open heart surgery sponsored by Rotarians in New York and Kampala, Uganda, to correct a congenital heart defect. Grace's surgery inspired the initial Rotarians to form Gift of Life, an organization that has saved the lives of more than 40,000 children with congenital heart disease. Today, we're going to hear from Grace about being the first to receive this special gift of life. It's not often that we hear from Rotary's beneficiaries, so I'm very excited about having Grace with us today. This, my friends, is a testimony to sustainability. Because of the many vocational technical teams and the equipment that's been funded in part by Rotary Foundation, the organization has saved lives and developed state-of-the-art cardiac programs in countries where there otherwise was no surgeon or hospital to do these complex surgeries. Grace is a member of the Rotary Club of Kampala North. After receiving her degree in agricultural economics, through her career with various organizations, Grace dedicated her life to working with disadvantaged communities in her hometown of Soroti, Uganda, encouraging them to appreciate themselves and become self-sufficient. Starting in 2009, Grace has worked with Gift of Life International as executive director and a global ambassador. She is also practicing her profession as an agriculturalist. Grace hopes to use her knowledge and expertise in farming to help fellow beneficiaries and their families to become self-sufficient. Grace has been so kind to be with us this evening, though it is 2 a.m. her time. Please welcome Grace. So
Thank you so much.
Grace, I'd love to start out with just having you tell us a little bit about what it was like to be a 5-year-old child going to another country, to New York City. And, you know, some of the people on this call here are not familiar with Gift of Life, so your story will be important to introduce them to the organization.
First of all, thank you so much, PDG Brenda, Sandra, for welcoming me. And also, I'm always very grateful that you made the visit to Uganda, which was really very fruitful for us. I want to say that, to start by saying that much of the story that I always tell is really a story that my parents talked about. And this was something they've always talked about right from when I was a child. So I always recall, you know, everything that they really told me. I would also like to say that the reason really they talk so much about my story is because of how grateful they were for the love that I got, and also this chance to receive this chance in life. And what they really say is that, first of all, receiving the news about my cardiac problem was really very devastating for them, because back then it was not often that you would hear a story about children with heart disease, or even our hospitals were not able to do anything regarding heart disease. So to them, this was like a death sentence. And even when they finally got to receive the news that I was going to have surgery, that I had a sponsor and I was going to the United States, this was still not very easy news for them, because they were again to make this decision as to whether I should really go for the surgery, because again, they were not sure whether the surgery was going to really be a success. And this is the same story, that the same thing that I see in many of the children these days and the parents. Much as we feel that this should be great news to know that your child is going to have surgery, it is very difficult for the parents to make this decision, more so because they're still not sure whether it will be a success. For my parents, they had been told that I would not live more than 16 years. So at 5 years, I think they felt that at least she has a few more years to go. Better wait for that than to lose her now. So my father actually talks about how he had a big argument with my mom because my mom was supposed to actually take me for surgery, but she declined to go with me because she could not bear to imagine that maybe in case I don't make it, how will she come back? Finally, amidst all these disagreements and, my father finally said he would bring me. So he talked so much about the long journey to America, to the United States, and how difficult it was for him because he knew that my mom was not happy about, he left my mom not happy. And all this journey, he was thinking, how will I go back home in case she doesn't make it? I was sitting next to him on the aircraft in the aeroplane, and each time he kept glancing at me and saying, "I'm on this aeroplane with we are two people going, but I don't know whether we will be two people going back." So he talked so much about the love that he received all through. Once he reached New York, Robbie Dono and some volunteers, the Rotarians, were waiting for him. So to some extent, he got a little bit of relief because at this stage, all he wanted was that assurance that the surgery was going to be a success. He also talks about the nuns, religious nuns, and my parents are very religious. So that was, again, very comforting for them. But really what caught his heart was when he met the cardiologist, Dr. Balboni. He told him, after all the examination and all the discussions, he told him that your daughter is going to have is going to have a 99.9% chance of success. At that point, that was sort of like the point where he felt that I think this surgery is going to be a success. For the first time, he was able to sleep well and really feel like, I think now I'm going to be able to take this young girl back to her mother and she'll be happy that I made the right decision. The twist about this whole story is that while my father was so focused on trying to make sure that my surgery was a success and he was meeting Robbie Dono and the doctors and everyone else, me as a 5-year-old child, I was very excited about the whole trip. I was excited getting on the aeroplane for the first time, and I'm always being asked that, what do you remember about your surgery when you were a child? All I remember are balloons at my bedside. And then I also remember this big store at Robbie Donner's mother's house. She had actually it was not very big, but it was a store full of everything a little kid would want, all the eats and drinks and everything. And of course, mommy would not give this to us back home. If you ask for a sweet, she would give you 1 or 2 sweets, and here I was having everything to myself. I'm also told that I kept asking her to make me tea, not really because I wanted the tea, but she had this whistling kettle that was really something interesting for me. So while my father was very, very, he was so disturbed about really making sure that everything went on well, I was having the time of my life. I like to talk about these two perspectives just to let you all know that the love that you give us when we come for surgery is just as important as the surgery that we get. And this is, we keep talking about all these stories concurrently, really. And I keep telling Robbie that I actually don't remember seeing you when I came over, and he laughed so much about it because the first time I heard about Robbie Donner was really from my parents, and I don't remember seeing him while there. Now, my surgery was really something that has inspired me so much right from childhood, because as I said, my parents, that has been a central story in our family. And everyone who comes home is always asking, where is the girl that had surgery? So this is really a big thing in our family. And I was so inspired right from childhood. I always felt that my parents had given in so much to really save my life. And also, I was very grateful for Rotary, for the love that they gave us, feeling like some strangers that really didn't know us because we were not a wealthy family then. And this really made me feel that I should give back to my parents in future. I need to work hard in my studies so that I can take care of my parents. I also felt that I need to get in touch with this organization, with these people. How do I get involved? Because as I grew up, I started knowing what Rotary was because I was really interested. So I felt that I needed to give back to the people as well. So as I grew up, this inspired me actually to start a Rotary Club back in my hometown together with my dad. We were all together to start that club. And also later on, even in my studies, I really chose a subject, agriculture, that was working with people because I was asked that, what would you like to do at university? And all I could tell my parents is that I would like to be a doctor or to do anything that will put me in touch with people because I felt so much, so grateful really. And I just wanted to give back and give back. While I worked for Gift, well, just after I started the club, Robbie Dono had visited us, and news had spread that Grace's sponsor had come, and so people started to know that I was involved in heart issues. So I met a little girl that actually needed help, and she was so sick, and we didn't know whether she would make it for surgery. I got so close to her. She was more like really my sister or daughter or something, so close. But one thing that I learned from her, from a little girl, she had a vision for what she wanted in life. She was very sick and all of us were worried. But she was so positive and she was telling me things that she wanted to do after her surgery. She actually told me that Auntie, when I finish my surgery, I want to leave my school in the village. I want to come and study here in the city so I can get a better job and help my parents in future. Now, the second thing she asked me is that when we come back from the hospital, will you be at the airport to meet us? I said, yes, I will be there. Sadly, Scovia did not make it out of the hospital. But, the motivation she had, the vision she had meant so much to me. And it's something that I carry in my heart all through because I know that all these children, even before they have their surgery, they have dreams, they have visions, there are things that they want to do in life. They want to help their parents. They already are positive about everything. And it's just us who are there who can be able to help them in this. Later on, I joined to work with Gift of Life International. And to me, this really completed the whole story because I saw myself in these children. I saw my parents in these parents. The stories they were telling me were the exact stories that my parents were telling me. So to me, it really confirmed that what my parents were going through was exactly what these parents were going through. It was just nice for me to hear these stories from them, to know what they were going through. I could be with them, but also it was nice for me to really celebrate with them whenever they got the good news. I just want to say that I have listened to many stories of parents that are looking for help, desperately looking for help for their children. But it's not until I have put these stories in the context of myself, in the context of my parents, that I've really come to understand what it means to desperately fight for the life of your child, what it means for the doctor to tell you that your child has a heart problem and you don't have the money and you don't even know where the help is coming from. To be told your child you will not live more than 16 years. To be told that, without any help, your child may die. I have also listened to parents when they have been told that your child has got a sponsor. that your child is going to live, your child is going to have a healthy life, your child has a 99.9% of survival. These stories are real, but there are so many children out there that really need our help. There are so many parents out there that desperately need our help. We can make these children tell their stories from suffering to their lives being saved. And through the gift of life, we can do this and have these children, these parents tell their stories with a smile. I want to thank you all so much for really giving us this opportunity to have a new life, to have joy. And for me to crown it all, I must say that it's because of the gift of life that 2 years ago, when my mother passed, I just was very grateful that I had this chance to be at her bedside to take care of her. This is something I would not have done if I hadn't received this gift. Thank you all for the gift that you've given us. Thank you for the gift of life.
Thank you so much, Grace, for sharing your story with us. It is truly amazing. And you know, I had an opportunity to go to Uganda and to meet with you and to see the facility. And it's just such a heartwarming to see the ICU bed with that teeny tiny little child in it who has just come out of surgery. It's and I know that that it isn't too much longer before they start to feel really very good. And then the difference in their life from before surgery to after surgery is just so dramatic. Thank you so much for sharing all this. Is there anything additional that you would like to say to the Rotarians that are on the call today?
Yes, I just want to say that for me, whenever I talk about my story, it is really a representation of what all the other children are, have in their hearts. And one of the things is that every child really wants to give back. Every child feels that, feels grateful for the love that they have received and want to give back. And I look at the future of Gift of Life. I see so many beneficiaries getting involved in Rotary, getting involved in activities that are really there to serve the people. And I just see Gift of Life as one of those programs that is building peace, that is really building a big network of people. And already we have started to see beneficiaries, older beneficiaries like myself, Brett and Robina, also working at the Heart Institute, Brett in Korea. They are already involved in Gift of Life programs. We also have other beneficiaries around here, and usually you can see it in their hearts that they want to give more. So that is something also that we are trying to think about. How do we get together as beneficiaries so that in future we can be this force in Rotary that, is recognized as people that, have received, but are also giving back. Because for us, we see Rotarians, most Rotarians are people that are just giving just because they see the need. But we are different. We are people that have received, and we feel that we should be able to do a little bit more.
Thank you so very much for sharing your perspectives with us and sharing your story. Really, really appreciate it.